Matt, we're ready when you are.
All right, great. Good afternoon, East Hampton ARB. We're live on channel 22. We're streaming to YouTube. You are being recorded, and the phone lines are not open for this meeting.
Thank you, Matt. Welcome to the May 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Architects Review Board of the Town of East Hampton. We have 12 applications before us this afternoon. Our next meeting is 3 weeks away, given how the May calendar falls, not the usual 2-week intervals. That meeting is June 12th. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting, which was May 8th?
So moved.
Frank, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passed. First order of business tonight, under historic districts. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-172-9-16. This is 294 Bluff Road, Amagansett. And Diane, it's yours.
Yes. This is an application that came before us about a month ago. And the applicant has very kindly heeded all of our requests and listened to our opinions and has proposed changes that comply completely with our suggestions. This is the gate on Bluff Road, and they are okay, 2 rows removed. Okay. No, wait, that's Bluff Road pedestrian gate, excuse me.
To the podium and introduce yourself.
The pedestrian gate is approximately 1 foot outside of the property line, and we propose to move it back to be in line with the deer fence once it's behind the privet, so back approximately 18 inches, which solves the problem of the fence being within the eyesight. The Bluff Road deer fence, per your request, we are proposing to move that deer fence inside the privet hedge. This will move it back approximately 18 inches also. And the hand lane, that's the Bluff Road fence and privet as it is. And now the hand lane driveway gate. They have given us a proposal with 1 slot removed and 2 crossbars removed. And they have enclosed a picture of a new dark sky compliant replacement lighting fixture. So this is the,
The existing.
Current. That's
Yeah,
current.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, current.
that's the current one, okay. And yeah, all right, and this would be with
1 row.
1 removed?
1 row, yeah.
And that's with 2 removed, what? Somehow that looks nicer to me, but,
We worry about the deer.
well, you know.
How high is it now?
Right now it's 6 feet. This is a tad over 4 feet. The rows are just like 11 inches
Mhm.
or 11 and a half, I think.
So, and then they have a 5 foot. Now, this is not on Bluff Road, this is on Hand Lane. So, and it is set back quite a bit and it's very natural, the gate. So it's not obvious. So I think the accommodation to take it to 5 feet is sufficient.
That would be great. Thank you.
And I think the other changes you've proposed solve all the problems.
And we had the dark sky compliant
Light fixtures, yes.
fixtures too. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, yeah.
So again, what are the heights of the columns and the gate leaves? Which one would we be comfortable with? Because I see 2 here.
No, that's the existing.
The column would
Waiting
be
to see the
6 inches without 1 row.
That's the
the
taller of the
adjust-
2
yeah.
options
Oh.
proposed. 66 inches.
Yep.
So that's 5 feet, 6 inches, yeah. And the lower one is,
4 something.
58.
so it's just under.
Just under 5 feet.
Or a little over 4 feet, I think.
The gate, yeah. But
The gate itself, the posts, right?
The gate itself is
Okay, so 4 feet, 2 inches. Comments by the board?
I don't really have a problem with either one. It's not a in your face part of the streetscape.
Yeah, I would agree with Chris. Actually, I think I prefer the higher gate.
Great.
Just, I don't know, the look with the lights and everything. I think it looks amazing.
Right?
I'm fine. I don't have any objection to the design. The only issue I might have is just, in general, we try not to have gates in Amagansett south of the highway, but I trust your judgment that if you.
Well,
think it's
this is an
We have
existing gate.
dogs and little kids, we need gates.
Oh, no, the gates are fine. It's the height of the gates that's
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah, I mean, you're entitled to have a gate up to 4 feet, but the ARB has made an effort to preserve the character of that, area of those lanes south of the highway, and not to have
There are 2 identical gates on Bluff Road in the historic district. So there definitely are ones identical to the existing.
In height?
Yes. I have notes on which houses they are at home.
Well,
Diane, what's your thought?
well, this gate has been there for decades, I think. And it's worn and it's, it's weather worn and it's very natural looking. And I think to take it down to 5 feet, I think would be sufficient.
Could we go back to the existing photo? And that's,
I think if this weren't such an open
Dogs.
gate, I might have more objections to it, but I think,
kind of
it fits in the
disappears.
character of that
So
neighborhood.
you're going to take off the 2 top squares or the 1 top square?
So each,
Well, that's the
each row is about 11 and a half inches. So the approximately 5 feet is 1 row, approximately 4 feet is 2 rows.
And then the post would be cut down to match.
Right.
I'm okay with either one, I think.
and you can get different heights of dogs behind.
Oh, they were different heights. One's a little Brittany and one's a big Chesapeake. They're just
you
aligning
go.
with the holes.
Cute. Okay, so if there are no other inquiries, I make a motion to accept this application as presented to us tonight.
So much. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes, and with the understanding that the Hans Lane driveway gate will not exceed 5 feet.
5 feet,
Can it be the,
5 feet, 8 inches.
it was like 2 inches above?
Should we stipulate which,
Measurement off of I'll put the correct measurement on the resolution.
So it was 60.5 because the rows are 11 point.
Right.
and the posts are 66.
Come down proportionately, yeah.
Yeah, let's just be clear what those dimensions are.
Okay, so the dimensions in the resolution have to match what you do. Okay,
I need a second.
second, all in favor?
Who seconded you?
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
So passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Still in the Historic District area, this is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-1723-23, and this is 288 Bluff Road in Amagansett. Diane, also yours.
Now, this happens to be on the opposite corner of Bluff Road and Hans Lane as the application we just looked at. And it is for a pedestrian gate that is on, let's see the other pictures, Will. Okay, and let's see I'm sure I have a picture from Bluff Road. Okay, so now I'm standing on Bluff Road, and you can see peeking out on the left, that little white pedestrian gate. But otherwise, I mean, until you are in the driveway and on top of it, you can't even see it. And when you do see it, it is perfectly in tune with the architecture of the house, and it's as discreet as it could be.
And the height is?
And the height is, from grade, it's 50.5 inches.
What's the wiring in the photo? What's the mesh and wire way up there in the photo?
Deer fencing?
It's deer fencing. The
Yeah.
deers tend to jump over the gate.
Well, that's not.
No, we can always remove it. Good afternoon, board.
Hi, please identify yourself.
I'm Luis Bermio. I'm the agent for the expediter for the property.
Okay.
And yeah, we can always remove that the deer fence.
Well, if you don't have any, if you don't have permission to put it up, it's not like a favor you got to do.
Yeah, no, definitely, we have to remove it.
Okay.
Where is that event? You know,
It's up high. It's
I
in the
didn't even see it.
They may be pulled back. They pull it over and then pull it back?
They put it on the winter.
Yeah.
They put it on the winter, and then when the homeowner comes out, they remove it.
Yeah.
So it's when the homeowner's not out here, they try to keep the deer away. When the homeowner is out here, they don't.
Well, I don't think it wasn't there when I went in. I don't think it was there. Well, if I took
Maybe
that
it's something
picture.
beyond. So
No, I wasn't
anyways,
even aware of it.
Well, it floats above the gate. It's not
Right.
part of the gate.
it's also, that's an inspection issue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so,
we're just doing the gate. So,
okay.
When from grade, the posts are 54 inches, the gate is 50 and a half inches, but it's not discernible, and I think it's fine.
I agree. Claire?
Great.
Frank?
I'm okay.
Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all in agreement. So I would like to make a motion to accept this application as presented. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Chris, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Board. Have a good day.
Yep. Moving on to change to commercial. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-189-1-7. This is 458 Montauk Highway in East Hampton. Claire, it's yours.
Thank you. So this application was originally presented to the board and approved on November 6, 2014. The applicant is requesting approval to convert a previously existing one-story wood frame shed into a three-car garage. So this picture, you can see that's the view if you're driving on the road. If you can, well, go to the next picture, please. Now you can see the garage all the way in the back. There's a decent size of the parking lot. The garage, or the previous shed, is really not visible from the road at all. All work has been completed now. The new garage structure features previously approved red cedar shingles. There's a siding, which were left to weather naturally. Wood trim painted white. And a gray asphalt shingle roof. The windows are white vinyl framed with a white painted wood casing. The overhead garage doors and the swing doors are white fiberglass with matching white painted wood casing to match the windows. I don't know if you have anybody here to speak on behalf of this application.
Yes, good afternoon, Board. John Borkwin of Greenberg Trauig, 2317 Main Street in Bridgehampton for the applicant. Mrs. Schiavone did a wonderful overview. I believe that this is a pretty straightforward application, and if the board has any questions for me or me to bring to the applicant, I'm glad to do so.
I don't know if you have any
Comments? I think we're probably all pretty good with it. Yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
I think we're quite straightforward and good with this. So.
Always great to hear that.
Diane?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm Claire. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to approve this application as presented.
I have a second.
Second.
Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously passed. And we'll do the C of O right away for this property also, right?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
So this is under certificate of occupancy. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-189-1-7. This is, again, 458 Montauk Highway in East Hampton. Claire, it's yours.
Okay, so as you can see, the work has been already completed, all as per resolution from 2014, as well as today's. So I would like to make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department that this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms of the ARB approval of the resolution dated May 22nd, 2025, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
I have a second.
Second.
Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously passed. Thanks very much. Still in change to commercial. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-50-1-13.1. This is 3 South Emery Street in Montauk.
We're changed to commercial.
Change to commercial, yeah. 3 South Emery.
32. I don't know where you are.
Number
I'm on
4.
number 4.
3 South Emery.
2.
Right, I was the right place.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-50-1-13.1, 3 South Emery Street in Montauk. Chris, this is yours.
Okay, this is first of several applications we have in front of us, but the same for multiple properties that are adjacent in this area of downtown Montauk. 3 South Emery is a property adjacent to the existing hotel that's being renovated, which is facing the oceanfront dunes, right as you're coming into Montauk before you get into the more dense commercial center. The applicant is completely renovating those existing buildings and structures, and is part of a compound that's referred, that I believe the name is Offshore Montauk. This requested modification is, first of all, to change the architect of record on the project to JM2 Architecture PC on the plans dated March 18th, 2025, and to modify an existing shed within the area of the new wood pool deck, which you can see the pool deck there. And there's a small concrete block structure that they are requesting a modification for. Will, if you can show the elevations of that. What it is they want to make it taller with the east side facing the pool deck open with a little service counter there. Let's see if you zoom in on the call outs of the materials on the lower right there. Let's see, I can't remember. Yeah, so it's basically the materials and the color palette matching everything. They've really tried across the 3 properties to be very uniform in the treatment of all the buildings. I did have a question about this. If the applicant can step forward and identify yourself.
My name is Marley Dominguez. I'm one of the owners of the property.
Right. I just wondered, in the off season, is that opening going to get closed off?
So yeah, everything's gonna get closed off. So on the sides, it's doors, and then in the front, it's just kind of like a shutter. Mm-hmm. And then we're debating if we get some sort of actual like enclosure over top as well during the winter. But yeah, it'll be completely closed with white doors, essentially.
And if, just to clarify, I think I misunderstood you when I met you on the property earlier this week. That the shed behind it, the pool equipment shed, is getting reclad to be, that's already part of the approval. It was going to be
and then the roof is basically non-existent, so we're going to just put a roof over top, but just match what's there. But
that was part of previous application. This is the new part, which is the conversion of that concrete block low shed into this structure. It seems like a pretty straightforward thing. I mean, everything in this property is very, kind of a uniform look and very cleanly detailed. I didn't have any problems with this. Seems like a pretty straightforward thing. And of course, the change to the architecture, the architect of record is a pretty straightforward proposal.
Any comments?
No. Clara, Dan?
I think we're good, Chris.
All right. Well, then I am making a motion to approve this application as submitted.
May I have a second?
Second.
Clara, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimously passed. Thanks very much. Still under change to commercial. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-183-4-1. This is 178 Buckskill Road in East Hampton. This is mine. So this is a simple request to change the color of an outdoor awning we approved on January 25th, 2024. The applicant is one of 2 tennis clubs on Buckskill Road that are almost right next to each other. Instead of a green awning, which we approved, the applicant seeks a green and a sort of off-white cream-colored awning on the western facade of their clubhouse. A white awning will remain on the eastern side of the clubhouse. So in this photo, you're looking at the eastern side there's a white awning, which is sort of a year-round thing. There's also a skating facility here in the winter. And then location we're talking about is on the other side. Keep going. So that's the other side, the western side, and this green and white striped awning, which is here as a sample.
Very classic.
Will be put on this and taken off seasonally. This is a modest request. I see no reason not to approve it. The sample of the new material is Tempo Test Emerald Green Off-White Striped Fabric. Discussion, questions? Okay.
No.
So Tara, this is yours. Anything we missed? Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this request as submitted. May I have a second?
Second.
Frank seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
So passed. Thanks very much. Moving on to fences, walls, gates, and berms. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-126-1-14.24. This is 12 Green Tree Court in Amagansett. Frank, it's yours.
Okay. This is an application for a gate on a court in Amagansett, which connects to a street that feeds into Old Stone Highway. The area is rather private with no through streets. There's an existing deer fence up to 9 feet around the property that this board approved. You'll see it in the photographs as we go through. The applicant is requesting approval for a driveway gate up to 6 feet, painted natural materials, painted white. The gate would be at the backside of the cattle grate, which you can see in the photographs, in line with the existing deer fencing. In terms of the neighborhood, I counted 22 properties in the subdivision, 3 of which have gates. 2 are on Timber Trail Court, which is another court kind of half a mile down or so, a quarter mile down. 1 is 6 feet, which we had previously approved. The other one is a 4-foot high setback from the street. There's also a gate on DeForest, which is the main street going into Old Stone Highway. It appears to be about 6 feet high. So if we just go through, so yeah, there's this existing 8 to 9 foot deer fence with a cattle grate. And so right there would be, this white 6 foot high fence. Frankly, I don't understand why a 6 foot high, nearly solid gate would be needed for this house. It's in full, is the house itself is in full view of the street. It's not like an opaque gate is going to be providing any more privacy. There's also the cattle grate, which is supposed to keep the deer out. So, is there anyone here from? Is the app okay?
I'm Howard Chesson,
Hi.
the husband of the owner of the house.
Right.
The fence, the gate is not for privacy. Clearly, the house is visible from the street, except right now it's not quite because of all the trees. Mm-hmm. The cattle grate isn't working. Cattle grate's actually going to come up. Years ago, when we went for approval here for the deer fence, we didn't want a gate, and we tried to do it with a cattle grate. The deer, and we were advised at the time to do a cattle grate that was 7 feet. We did a 14-foot cattle grate. They're jumping across it.
Wow.
We have deer constantly. They're defecating on the property. My grandkids come. It's really just not safe. We finally said, after all these years, we just can't deal with this anymore. So we're going to have the cattle grate, hopefully with your approval, the cattle grate come up, deer fence put in style along with the house. And I can show you a picture. It's just a white. If you looked, you saw the house has it's cedar shake with white trim. So it's going to be a white, simple a gate, and the purpose is to keep the deer out, not to give us privacy. And frankly, the gate is going to be an automatic gate, not with a keypad or anything. It's just you drive up and you go in. So we're not trying to keep people out. We're trying to keep the deer out.
And did I understand correctly? You're thinking of removing the cattle grate?
Oh, absolutely. Cattle grate's useless, and it becomes, you can't even walk across it. So we put a pedestrian gate next to that because that's the only way we can get in and out. It's just never worked. So the cattle grate's going to come out, the driveway will be continuous, and the new gate will be the entrance to the house.
So just for the record, we don't approve 9-foot high deer fences anymore, so this is a very old approval, correct?
This goes back, I think, to 2007. I could be
Okay,
wrong.
so not this board, not this time, but something you're fine with it because it's there, but
Thank you.
we would never approve a 9-foot high deer fence today, and just for the record. Okay.
I've been very fortunate because the deer aren't going over the fence. We're good with that.
Right.
But they
Oh,
are
no.
constantly on the property. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't do any good.
So, I mean, my thinking is I understand wanting to match the house. The issue for me is just about, generally speaking, the board doesn't, unless there's a need for it, doesn't look favorably on gates that are opaque like this, that don't have more opacity. So,
Sorry, I had trouble.
in other words, yeah, so the board is, generally speaking, is not really amenable to gates where it's almost sort of solid like this.
Let me show you a picture, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
It's not completely solid.
Well,
It's open at the top.
Right, same one that's up, or,
it's a little different from it's similar to it.
This was on the
Yeah.
website. This is the one we picked.
Okay. And that has,
Again, if I have a picture in front of the house, if you look, that's where we picked this style, because it went with the house.
Mhm.
By the way, there was a fourth gate that we missed in the neighborhood. There's a driveway next to mine with a house. My cul-de-sac only has
three
three
houses,
houses,
yeah.
two, and then one on Flanders. The one on Flanders has a gate, 6-foot gate. It's brown wood. It's supposed to light.
It must be set back from the
It's
street,
set
right?
back. It's
Oh, okay.
right along the back.
so
Okay,
it's
set
more than
back
50 feet, it's a little different.
But I can show you, this is my house,
Yeah.
and so we picked the white to sort of match, to go along with that.
Yeah, no, it's not the whiteness or the architecture of the house, it's the fact that we like the gates more open so you can see through them.
Well, I've been told, and I don't know this for a fact, that if the deer can
See through it, yeah.
they can go over it, anything under 8 feet, they can do. And so we chose something a little more solid, so the deer, and this is the purpose of keeping them out, is, it won't think to go over. That was the whole
The
purpose.
deer could just walk 3 feet to the right and look through the vinyl fence and see the land.
Well, that would be a really smart deer. And it's funny because when I first proposed having the automatic gate without a keypad, I wondered if the deer just walk up, will the gate open? And they told me it will be based on mass and the deer would not, because I was thinking if they're a smart deer, they might decide to wait.
Just to play devil's advocate here, I think if you were to maintain the cattle grate, they're sailing over that, which is an incredible leap. But I don't think they could also clear even a 4-foot gate in the same location at the far end of that gate. So in that case, you wouldn't even be before us for approval, because up to 4 feet, we don't get involved in gates unless they're in a very special area. That is an option as well. I understand that I've heard also that deer don't like to jump where they can't see. That's but it is.
Well, with all due respect, I'm afraid if we went that route and we were wrong because the fence is too low, I wasted all this money and still have the deer in my property doing what they're doing. And it's very difficult in the summer, particularly when my grandkids are out all the time. By the way, this little beard is not me, it's from my grandkids, in case there's a little one on my chin. But it's not my style, but I was asked by 2 of my older grandchildren to do that.
Why not leave the cattle grate and put up a gate?
Well, the cattle grate is terribly unattractive as it is, and it's not working. It's useless. I even had it dug out deeper because they're jumping it, and in some cases finding a way to walk it. And they're still getting through.
I think though that in combination with the gate, it's an option, and it could be worth considering. I don't. I mean, this is a very specific case, far in the depths of East Hampton in the woods. It's not a through street, as you mentioned. So I'm generally inclined to take that into consideration in review of this, as opposed to, some of the more architecturally sensitive and streetscapes that we have. But I don't know if other board members feel like this is. I feel like if we're asking him to do something that's more open to view, then it's going to defeat the purpose of having the gate there. That's why I was suggesting that, I don't think there's much of any way a deer is going to feel comfortable jumping off of, even if they walk across most of the cattle grade, if they're going to have good footing to jump over a low fence there.
As you suggested, I'm on a tiny little cul-de-sac, and there's really one neighbor who lives there full-time who has absolutely no objection, and the other neighbor is there a month or so, and they have no objection. Nobody else comes down. It's not a through street. It's just a couple of houses. That's it.
Okay, Diane, your thoughts?
Well, if you take away the cattle grade, those deer can jump a 6-foot fence easily.
But they won't be able to see that they can. And again, I've been told by many people that if they can't see a landing area, which is why privets work, even if they're lower, they can't see a landing area, they won't jump. Look, I'm not a deer expert. I don't know, but that's what I've been told.
It's only a matter of time before there's some expert witness in this town for deer.
Representing the deer population.
Right. Some expert on deer psychology.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I know you said you would like to paint the gate white to match the house, but I feel like with this design, I feel like it would almost look better if you left like weather naturally. I'm not sure if I just feel with the design, not a lot of opacity to the gate. The white seems a little, I don't know. Even when you show us the picture, it seems a little.
Well, it's being set back 28 feet from the
Right.
street, and there's no one else there. I get an oil delivery or a UPS. That's it. I don't even get mail delivery because I'm in Amagansett, so the mailman doesn't even come down there.
Well, it's a high gate at 6 feet, and it's not terribly opaque, so those are 2 strikes against you. The fact that you told us the story you told us is probably a strike for you.
Thank you.
So I think it's sort of, I think this could go either way. I mean, Frank?
I mean, generally speaking, just letting you know, like the way the board looks at gates is distance from street, height of the gate, and opacity and the color. So you almost have you have a gate that's pretty opaque, that's fairly close to the street, that's 6 feet, and it's white. And typically, we want to see something that sort of where it's not so visually striking. I'm weighing that against the fact that you are in a very remote location. So, I would like to see a little more opacity in the gate. I wish that you would come back with something that was just a little more opaque, but I don't know.
You found this gate online?
No. I had East Hampton Fence and Gate came to my home.
Okay.
And then he showed me pictures online, and that's when I printed because we picked this from one of the many he had.
Yes.
And I printed it in case you wanted to see what it looked like.
Oh, yeah, we do, yeah.
I mean, my only thought is you've got basically the height of that open area's top is like a third of the gate visually. But the photo you showed is it's the upper half.
Yeah. Well, it's not, it looks, to me, it looks like maybe 2/3 to a third. I could be wrong.
More like half and half.
Yeah.
That
That
picture
is
is
different
better
than
than that.
Well, this is his picture on his website of an actual fence. I'm guessing it would be the gate. I'm assuming it would be probably manufactured the same way all the time.
Well, he just builds them as you order them. That picture's better than that.
What's actually missing from the drawing, I'm realizing, is the height of that open area.
What opening?
Yeah,
right.
we were just
What's
talking
the
about
open span?
the
It's
discrepancy.
not actually. someone could build that and say, it's 14 inches and say, well, that's what you approved, because there's no way to prove that without scaling the drawing.
I'd like to see those measurements. I mean, I think if we bend to help you, I'd like to see what the measurements are of the open area versus the closed area of the gate.
And preferably to see it more representative of what's in that photo as opposed to the
photo,
to the
photo
drawing.
and the drawing are different.
Whether there's a center style in the middle of each door panel versus the no vertical as it is in the photo doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, frankly, that's quite different than this because the bottom is solid here.
I'm just saying we need a dimension. And listen, I know you wanted to come here and get an approval for this today.
You're right.
And you want to get going, but I'm telling you, if we approve something very similar to this, typically we typically don't approve a design like that. So I don't want to say count yourself lucky, but we're giving you a lot here, I feel, as a board.
I appreciate it.
So if you could come back with that dimension, and we would like it if you just make that open part a little more open, like that photograph, I think I'd be willing.
I mean, he's going to build this for you in his workshop. We know this gentleman well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you just made it like half and half, and open and on the top, closed on the bottom, with the relationship of those two measurements, that I think would be helpful.
Is it possible to do 2/3, 1/3 like this picture looks like, only because I'm worried about the deer seeing through? And as we get lower, I'm just overly cautious. I didn't want to put a gate in the first place. I finally realized it's a must. If I'm going to do it, it has to accomplish what I need. And so I'm happy to get whatever dimensions you would like. But if it's possible to accommodate instead of half and half, a third, 2/3, that would be great.
Looks like a third,
looks like
2/3, but your
1/3.
photo looks like half and half. So
No, well, to me, that looks like a quarter, 3/4.
yeah, I mean, we prefer this design. Okay.
I'd say that's slightly less tall,
40,
slatted
60.
part than
40, 60 probably. So
This is what I saw.
okay. So if you just give us those dimensions,
And if it could be like that, more like 40%.
I'm sorry.
If you could make it a little more open, like 40% like that drawing, I think we might be okay with that.
If we were to also address, I think Clara has a good point in terms of its visibility.
Material?
no, the white
in terms
is-
of the white is going to stand out. Your house is largely cedar with white trim.
White garage doors as well.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, it's not a make or break for me, but it's something that would
make it more
also
palatable.
soften it in a wooded area to have a natural material that's
It's
left.
just the
with.
white's going to be kind of stark against the trees there. So if you could consider doing natural stained, like your house is natural stained.
I'm happy, it wouldn't be my preference, but I would change the color if that's what you need. But I'm looking for a material that is going to hold up better than the staining, because those tend to need a great deal of maintenance and rot faster and so on.
AZAC? Is this going to be AZAC?
I believe it is. I'm
I
not,
believe it is too.
I have to look at the,
Well, it says natural cedar on the drawing.
let me just see what the proposal is. I'm sorry. Yeah, it says AZAC on the proposal from him.
All right, well, the drawing says natural cedar.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to be very precise in this particular situation because of the situation. So please come back to us with the things.
If you can tell me specifically
I'll send you a letter.
We will.
what you want.
Yes.
And so I'd come back at the next meeting in 3 weeks. Is that?
Julie?
I will send a letter when we get that stuff that we requested, then we can schedule it.
Yeah, I think you'd be in June. It'd either be the 12th or the 26th. That's right. 12th, 19th. Yes. It would be a June meeting.
Yeah.
We'll try to get you on when we receive
It's
the
pretty
material.
simple. If you,
This isn't but this is with me, been dragging on since December. I had to get a survey to make sure, that I wasn't over clear, which I'm not. And all this, not your fault, all mine. The sooner I can get this done.
We understand it's a lengthy process.
Thank you. So if you just let me know what you need, I will get the specifics from them.
And I think the vendor that you've chosen to work with is very familiar with this board and the requirements of what we're looking for, and can read that letter that you'll receive very shortly and be able to turn that right around. As soon as
you get it, I'll get it out to them and get back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Howard.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're moving on to agricultural overlays. This is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-200-2-24.8, 104 Wainscott Main Street in Wainscott. Chris, this is yours.
Okay, contrary to this photo, this is not an application for a large rock. But, it is application for a request to build a length of 3-foot tall locust split rail fencing parallel to the west side of a stretch of the long driveway that leads to this property. It's a property that with a new house that recently was built with ARB approval, and the driveway gate at the end of the long driveway was approved by this board, and now they're looking to do this 3-foot tall locust split rail fence, basically coming from behind the rock, wherever that property line is. You can see it in the survey, but very similar to this short run of split rail fence that's there on the adjacent property street front. If you could go to the survey, we'll see where that is. It's a very long driveway off of Wainscott Main Street. This is the Dan Scotty house. So there's a label on the survey that says an existing fence. I couldn't see it because there's a very thick, a very dense thicket of bamboo that's right along the driveway there. So I couldn't see the fence that's there, that it's aligning with, but you can see up front there's the rock and the very short run of split rail fence that's existing for the adjacent property there. And what they're proposing, the proposed line is going to basically hook up to the end of that short run of existing split rail at the street and run straight back until it meets the fence that's behind that bamboo, far back from the street. It's a very straightforward application. I mean, the split rail fencing seems like a very very appropriate way to put up fencing in an agricultural area like this. Very traditional. I don't see any reason why we couldn't approve this application as presented.
Would you like to say anything?
Nope, I think that pretty much summarizes it. Sarah with LaGuardia Design, just an innocuous fence matching with the character of the existing fence that's already on the property and adjacent to the property, and just really just trying to create a separation, secure his driveway from the neighbor's property.
I love the detail of the split rail fence in section. It's like, you guys really go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very straightforward.
Oh, Frank, Clara, Diane?
No objection at all.
I think we're very good.
Very
with it,
innocent, yeah.
I make a motion to approve this application as presented.
May I have a second?
Second.
Frank, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimously passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on agricultural overlay, this is Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-189-6-2.4. This is 310 Further Lane in East Hampton. Frank, it's yours.
Okay, this is an application to relocate a small barn structure from a property on Tyson Lane, a parcel that runs from Tyson Lane to the ocean, which you can see there, to 310 Further Lane, which is in the same Tyson Lane subdivision. This application is before us because it sits within an ag overlay. The barn will be relocated to this 8-acre lot, which is on Further Lane and bordered by Tyson Lane on both sides. The barn will be mostly shielded from Further Lane due to vegetation, which is frankly rather unfortunate, as this is a beautiful structure and should site beautifully in a wild meadow and back of an orchard. So that's the barn that's being relocated. Next photo. whole detail of it. The building coverage being proposed is 1,184 square feet. Maximum level is 6,989 square feet. There's the meadow. So this is like looking from Further Lane. We're in the field there. In back of us is some, I think they're apple trees or fruit trees. That's looking to Further Lane. This would be on the right there. There were some stakes that were put out. Let me explain this. We've also got a dark sky compliant fixture, which we'll review. Regarding the placement of the structure, my guess is there may be some adjustment on site during the move to determine the barn's final location so that it's sited beautifully on the eastern side of the property. I'd be supportive of a minor deviation from what is on the survey if the owner requested that, or the sort of prepare the board for it. Basically, it's this beautiful small wooden barn that's going to get moved onto this and adaptively reused into this beautiful site. And I suspect during the move, they may, move it around a little bit and say that's just right. So I'm fine with that. Included in the application, there's an 8-foot 5-inch agricultural fence on the west side of this lot. Will, if you could bring a photo of that was included in this submittal. There you go. The board approved that in 2012. The applicant is proposing an 8-foot, basically the same fence on the eastern side of the property along Tyson Lane near this structure. My understanding, it's to access both this barn and also for the farm, and there may also be a fire safety issue with this wanting to be relocated fairly close to an existing fire hydrant, and also so fire trucks had to come in. Heaven forbid this catches on fire. I fully support this application and laud this applicant's care for this property and commitment to maintaining a working farm. Eric, you want to?
Sure.
Assuming this is your application.
It is indeed. Thank you very much, Frank. Eric Brown, Ackerman Partners, 34 Panago Road for the applicant. Thank you for that analysis, Frank. You guys will probably remember this. You've looked at the new main house on the 10 Tyson property. This structure has been there. Helmut Lang purchased this from Wainscott, brought it here, had it as an artist studio. When the property changed hands, the conditions that are applicable to allowing an artist studio to remain are no longer applicable to my client, the current owners. Everybody wants to preserve the thing. My client also owns the underlying fee to that ag reserve, the main ag reserve 8-acre parcel. Their farm manager has said they were looking for a structure in which to, house a tractor, some tools. There are no structures on there now. So that's really what this is. In reference to Frank's comments about the location, I just want to remind this board that because this is an agricultural structure in a residential zone that is over 200 square feet in size, we had to go through the planning board for site plan. So while we have a small amount of wiggle room with that location, that was the location that the planning board said that they would prefer. We did fool around with it, but for whatever reasons they have, that was the side that they wanted it on. So that's where we put it. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
And can we see that there's a light fixture that's being added to it? There's an existing sconce on the we're on it that's not dark sky compliant.
Right. We're using this. This is the same exterior lighting that you guys approved for the house on Tyson Lane across the street.
Fine.
So we just suggested they can repurpose it here. Great. There are 3 exterior. There's not a lot of exterior lighting, and this is not a building that's really designed to be used after dark anyway. But if somebody had to go out there, you're at least going to want to be able to not trip over things.
Not like you need to answer this question, but just curious. There are 2 of these structures at 10. What's
Well,
going to be
okay,
the
so,
future of the
so
oven?
when we started at 10, if you remember, Frank, there was this structure, there was a large garage, which has since gone away, of no particular, it was built in 1968, so it was not particularly historically relevant. And there was a small cottage, which is still there. That was the principal residence. Yeah. In order to develop the new residence, again, that structure is something that our clients would like to keep, but we obviously cannot have two residences on this single property. So what we've done is we've stripped the kitchen and the bathroom out of that little cottage, 910 square foot cottage. And Joe Palermo wanted us to raise it up off the ground. We've kept it there, and we've applied for a variance to the ZBA to allow it to remain as a non-habitable, oversized accessory structure. Now, if for some reason the ZBA is loath to do that, we will come back to you and shrink it down to the 600 square foot maximum that would be under code, although I don't think anybody wants to do that. Interestingly enough, it appears that structure you're asking about, Frank, started its life as a structure on the same piece of property where we're sending this barn now.
Yeah, there's actually another one. I could bring up the photo, but from it was a similar little barn like this that had a little like portico in it. I'm just wondering I didn't go on to 10 to see whatever happened to that. I hope it's still around. But again, it's not applicable to this. I was curious.
Okay, so this is an old photo. So this is the structure, obviously, we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, it's the one, that one.
This is the garage that is no longer there, and that is the little cottage. This used to be a single parcel. It's now subdivided. So this used to be the main house, and this was developed in one piece when it was still possible to have two residences on a single parcel if you prove that you had the lot area to accommodate. Mm-hmm. So there's now the property line runs.
It was so nice when it was Helmet.
So yeah, this is the one this is the garage you're saying that's no longer there? Like from there?
No, I think isn't that the one we're talking about now?
No, the one we're talking about now is that one.
Okay.
There were two of them, so.
Right.
But
okay.
I was just curious.
Okay. No.
Hope it's still around.
Yes. Well, nothing has been torn down. We're trying to save everything that's that we can save there. So.
Ferguson Shamamian has decided to put all buildings on this property on casters, right? So they can moving them around.
Like the great chess game of life.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're all good. I think we're all good.
Seems fine.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this application as presented.
Second?
Second.
Clara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimously
Thank you very
passed.
much, everybody.
Thank you, Eric. Okay. Under certificate of occupancy, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-17-1-5. This is 80 Firestone Road in Montauk. Chris, this is yours.
Okay. This is a request for a C of O inspection for this property at 80 Firestone Road, up on the bluff just past the Montauk, facing Fort Pond Bay, and it's in a resort zone. The project received initial approval from the ARB back in 2021. An extension of time in 2024.
Sorry to interrupt. I think I have to recuse myself like I did last time. I forgot about this.
Okay.
So.
Let's see. So the extension of time was in April 2024, and a modification we just approved on April 30th, 2025. The project is comprised of 4 one-story cottages with basements, wood decks, and one of the cottages has a roof deck with glass railings, which you can see in that photo. The buildings have cedar siding, flat roofs, aluminum framed windows and doors, and simple wall mount and landscape pathway light fixtures. There are pea gravel paths connecting the cottages to the arrival and parking area. There's fencing, individual pedestrian gates for each cottage, and extensive landscaping, including stone retaining walls. The property is beautifully built, heavily landscaped, and appears to be substantially in conformance with the ARB approvals. So I really don't see any reason why the board couldn't approve this as presented and be ready to make it ready.
I concur. Claire? Diane?
Looks great.
I think we're good, Chris.
Okay. Then I make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department that this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms to the ARB approvals of the resolutions. Let's see. The initial resolution dated April 19th, 2021, the extension of time dated April 2nd, 2024, and the modification of April 30th, 2025, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
I have a second?
Second.
Clara? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's so passed unanimously. Oh, with Frank recusing himself, yes. Okay, item number 11, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-50-1-14. This is 71 South Emerson Avenue in Montauk. Chris, this is also yours.
Okay. This is the second application here before us. So this is, let's see, which one are we doing? 71 or 79 first?
71.
71. Okay, so this is the hotel and office property of this offshore Montauk, and they are wrapping up the construction here, and it is walking around both properties. We'll get to the other one next, but walking around both properties, the work being done is in conformance to, it appears to be in conformance to all the approvals that we've had for this property, including modifications at the last meeting where we looked at some stoops up to the new doors on the north side of the building. It's, again, to remind everybody, it's a light colored standing seam metal roof, white painted hardy plank siding, black railing frames with cable rail, epay decking, white trim on the decks, and simple black light fixtures, wall sconces. So and basically they're seeking our approval for these improvements, and it seems to me that they appear to conform to everything that we've given them approval for and put into resolutions and modifications. So I don't, does anybody have any questions for the applicant, or?
I don't. Diane?
No, looks
Frank?
tidy.
Clara? I think we're good, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very attractive property. They've really, I should have thought to put up a before and after here, because it's quite a change, and it's quite an improvement to the streetscape there in Montauk. So, if no other comments, I'd make a motion to instruct the staff to notify the building department that this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms to the ARB approval of the resolutions. Let's see, initially dated August 27th, 2024, the modification from April 30th, 2025, and a resolution dated October 16th, 2024, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
Second?
Second.
Frank, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously passed. Last item, number 12, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-50-1-15, still now we're at 79 South Emerson Avenue, Montauk. Chris, yours.
Can I just say ditto? I mean, it's the same deal. This is again, the same palette of materials and finishes, a very nice level of finish, and a great improvement to what was there. Very much in conformance with what we've approved for the property. And so, anybody have anything else?
I think we're good. Yeah.
So, to go through this again, I make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department that this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms to the ARB approval of the resolution dated May 21st, 2024, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously passed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Laura.
Okay.
That's all our business. I'd like to make a motion to close this meeting. Second.
Second.
Diane, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimously closed and passed.